Hey guys, if you're like me, yesterday probably felt like Christmas when you learned that OpenAI made their deep research reports available via their API. I know you're just as excited as I am to start building with this API. So let's dive into Make and see how to configure the OpenAI API to give us those deep research reports and our automations that are going to make our outputs that much more amazing. So let's start building. All right, guys, it is Christmas time. The OpenAI deep research reports are now available via their API. So, woohoo! Not only can we use Perplexity for our automations for deep research, we can now use OpenAI's amazing deep research reports. Now, this is available via their O3 and O4 mini models. So, you're going to need to be able to leverage those models in order to get the deep research reports. So if you try to go to Make just right out of the gate and add the OpenAI modules, you're not going to find these models in your selector list. In order to see them in your selector list, you're going to have to select them in your OpenAI API portal, which is over here. And I'm going to show you really quickly how to enable these models so that you can find them in Make and other places where you connect your API key. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on the gear here, go to your settings menu, and you're going to go down to this tab down here in the bottom left that says limits. Click on the limits button and then go to the select models button. Underneath select models, you're going to scroll and scroll and scroll all the models that exist. There's so many. Some of these I've never even used before, but they look kind of cool. Omni moderation, I haven't touched that yet. But you're going to scroll until you find O3 Deep Research, and then you're going to keep scrolling until you find O4 Mini Deep Research. It is in here as well. Let's see. But once you find both of those and check the box, there's so many. Oh, here we go. It was right here. Almost missed it. Hit save. And now you are going to be able to use these models in your project and via your API key. So that is going to be available when you go over to Make and create your automation. So let's jump over to Make really quick and start building in there. All right, now that we've granted access to the O3 deep research model and the O4 mini deep research model, we're ready to come over to Make and create our first deep research automation. So for the purposes of this demo, what I've done is I've set up a Make scenario where this scenario is triggered by a new lead on my website from someone filling out a Google form, right? This Google form is a request for a consultation where I'm getting things like the person's name, first name, last name, email, company name, and then a brief description of an AI automation that they're interested in building or learning how to build from me. So that is the information that we're collecting, and we're going to use this information to power our OpenAI deep research queries. So this workflow will wait for a new lead to come in. Once that lead comes in, it's then going to do deep research on the company where the lead is coming from. And then it's going to do another deep research report following that on the AI automation use case that they've submitted to me. Now, I've built prompts for both of these deep research reports, which I'll link in the description to this video. But essentially, we're just asking OpenAI to go out and do a lot of research on the company, about the size of the company's go-to-market motion, their business model, products and services that they offer, personnel insights, opportunities for AI automation so that we can have conversation starters when we talk to our client, But you could imagine doing this for your business as well. Some companies probably receive quite a few leads every day. Wouldn't it be amazing if your AE team was given a research dossier prior to their discovery call about the company and about the use case and the information that they will need to have a really in-depth conversation with their prospects and really dive into how your products and services can be applied to them. So that's the use case here. After the research reports are created, I'm then having them populate a Google Doc. That Google Doc is then going into a lead tracking spreadsheet. And then that lead tracking spreadsheet is then sending a Slack notification to a Slack channel for new leads that I have set up, where all of my new leads will appear with links to these deep research reports. So let's go ahead and configure our OpenAI deep research report. Now, one of the nuances about this automation with Make is that it's not running what you would normally run with OpenAI to get a response. Typically, we're running a create a completion call to the API, which is essentially like having a chat conversation just in an automated way. This time, we're going to have to do a different procedure in order to get these deep research reports. So, in order to get deep research reports, according to OpenAI's documentation that they released, you're going to have to create a model response and then get that model response in order to generate your deep research report and then get the results of that deep research report and put them into your Google Doc. So it's a bit convoluted. Trust me, I went through all the trouble of figuring this out yesterday when I set up my first workflows, and I'm making a video on it so you don't have to. All right, so once we put in our first module of our scenario, we're going to select the model that we want to run. Now we're going to be able to see our deep research models, right? They're right here. These are the two that we just selected in our API interface. So you're going to select one of those two. You're going to select text prompt. And then once you select text prompt, you're going to put your prompt information in. And then you're going to insert any information from your form into your prompt so that that information is sent over to OpenAI so that when it's running the deep research report, it knows the company name and all the other parameters that you want it to research about. If you're going to be able to put a maximum number of output tokens in here, this is a good way to govern how expensive things are going to get and how long the report will be that will be generated, right? So anybody who's run a deep research report knows that they can be quite extensive. I've run several that are, close to 50 pages long. In terms of the amount of text that gets output, each word is equal to a token. So if you're thinking about 50 pages of text, you're talking about quite a few tokens in order to generate a really rich response. So just keep that in mind when putting your max output tokens there. I'm not doing anything with temperature or top P in this for this demo. These are more advanced settings to tune your model and tune your outputs. And quite frankly, I don't even know if these are available for the deep research model. They may be exposed here and not even working. The rest of these parameters you don't need to worry about. Instructions is one where you can provide system instructions. So if you were going to include a system prompt, which this is including a role for the model, if pretend you're a McKinsey researcher or an analyst at Boston Consulting Group, something like that, to give it some flair and some context for its role in this operation. I'm not using that in this case. I think the single shot prompt that I'm giving is probably good enough. It's just doing research on a company. So, I don't need it to really have a ton of system instructions. When you come down here to the reasoning drop down, you'll notice you can select low and high, but if you select anything other than medium, you're going to get an error from OpenAI's end telling you that you can only select medium. So don't even mess with that. You're going to waste your time thinking that you can do a summary of the report for concise or detailed, or a summary of the reasoning done by the model so that you can see the reasoning steps that it went through. Don't even select that because it will not work. It will tell you that you have to do auto. Format text output is text. You have a couple other options here. I haven't played with those yet, but JSON schema is a very interesting one if you were going to map fields into certain parts of this workflow later on. For this demo, we're not going to be doing that. Tool choice. This is important. In your tool choice, you must select the web search preview tool type. If you do not select the web search tool preview in the tool type, it will not run the deep research report. So make sure that you're selecting web search preview. And that, again, I don't know why it even allows you to select low and high in terms of the search context size, but medium is the only one that will work. So you must select medium. If you select anything down here in terms of the user location for the web search, it will not work. So do not select anything here. You will get an error. Truncation type, again, you can't disable this. If you do anything other than auto, it will give you an error. So all of that being said, these are all of the gotchas that you're going to need to configure when setting up your API call to get your deep research report. If you don't configure it like this, it will not work. Trust me, I spent half an hour yesterday trying to figure out all of these gotchas. So hopefully this will save you some time. All right, the next module here that you're going to include in your scenario will be the get completion. So now you just need to pull the completion down that you just requested from the model. And that's pretty simple. You just need to put the response ID in here. Very easy, right? You'll just select the response ID from the previous module and you're good to go. Then you're going to drop your input into a Google Doc, name your deep research report, add the content output from the get module, and you will be good to go with your research report. And then you just configure the exact same two-step operation for your next deep research report in your workflow. And then, yeah, you're good to go. Once you've set all that up, you can then run your scenario. This takes quite a while to run because these deep research reports are not quick. If you've run one a lot of times in the console, it will tell you to go off and do something else while it runs the report. So yeah, go off and do something else while it runs the report. It's going to take a little while. Wait for that Slack notification to ping you, and then you can come back and take a look. The great part about this is this will run automatically whenever a new lead comes in for me. I don't have to do anything. I can just get notified in Slack that I've got a new lead and that lead has these deep research links with it. Super convenient for me, gets me briefed for my discovery calls. And then you could even layer on another level of automation on top of this, another agent to analyze these reports and provide insights, maybe help you map out how you're going to go about advising your client, in my case, on their AI automation, maybe help you select the top 3 most feasible tracks that you might take with your client or recommendations. And yeah, I mean, you could go into that first discovery call armed with a ton of information to help you navigate that call and impress your client. So hopefully this is really helpful. I'm going to caution you guys that I ran a couple of tests with this. And let me just tell you that it is kind of expensive to run this deep research report. If you're running the O3 model instead of the O4 mini model, I ran 2 tests on the O3 model and then 1 test on the O4 mini model today, and it costs 550 to run those tests, right? So although there is amazing information and level of detail and insight here, this is quite expensive to run. And if you're running it in an automated way, you may want to put some guardrails on your API usage so that you're not all of a sudden getting hit with like some sort of like DDoS attack on your form or something like that, and someone like blows your billing up, and all of a sudden, you've auto reloaded $1,000 on your credit card, running these, research reports and for nothing, right? For fake leads. So just be careful about what you're doing and your auto reloads and things like that, especially with these OpenAI models. They're quite expensive. Um, I'm going to do another video here on how to do the exact same workflow with Perplexity instead of OpenAI. So if you want to check out that video, that one will be uploaded right next to this one. So if you want a bit more cost conscious way of going about doing these deep research reports in your automations, consider Perplexity as the other provider, which is quite a bit more cost effective than OpenAI at this point. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, leave me a comment on this video or other videos that you'd like to see in the future. And as always, guys, have a great day.